An 18-year-old grandson? A 74-year-old grandmother? A quiet suburban neighborhood turned into the scene of an unthinkable crime. On October 8, 2024, Wyatt Testerman unleashed a violent rage that ended with his grandmother, Cheri Oliver, brutally beaten to death. What triggered such ferocity, and why did he show no remorse? What could drive a young man with no criminal record to such an unspeakable act? What fueled his rage? And why did he remain eerily calm and detached afterward? This is the story of a family torn apart, a community left reeling, and the lingering questions about the fragility of human relationships. Erlanger, Kentucky, a close-knit suburban enclave, is a place where neighbors greet each other on morning walks and children ride their bikes freely along tree-lined streets. It's a town where the biggest news might involve a school fundraiser or a city council meeting. That tranquility was shattered on October 8, 2024. Police received frantic 911 calls from the Ridgewood Drive residents just before midnight. Family members, overwhelmed by panic, reported a violent attack. What officers found upon arrival would forever stain the town's memory: a blood-soaked living room, a dented metal tumbler, the apparent weapon, and signs of a brutal struggle. Cheri Oliver, frail but resilient at 74, lay unconscious, her head trauma severe. Despite the paramedics' best efforts, Cheri succumbed to her injuries at the hospital. Outside the home, police found her alleged attacker, her grandson Wyatt. His demeanor was disturbingly composed. He complied with their commands, showing no signs of remorse or distress. This unnerving calmness would become a central theme in the investigation. To understand the depth of this tragedy, one must first know who Cheri Oliver was, a woman whose life was defined by love, sacrifice, and resilience. Cheri was the cornerstone of her family. A widow who lost her husband young, she raised her children alone, balancing multiple jobs while fostering a sense of warmth and stability at home. Her role as a grandmother was perhaps her most cherished. Her neighbors described her as the heart of Ridgewood Drive, a woman who never hesitated to lend a helping hand, bake for community events, or sit and listen to someone's troubles. Her bond with Wyatt was particularly special. As a child, he often turned to her for comfort and guidance during turbulent times. Cheri became a surrogate parent in many ways, filling in emotional gaps left by other figures in his life. She celebrated his achievements and offered unwavering support during his struggles. For Cheri, family meant everything. That is what made her violent death at the hands of a loved one all the more heartbreaking. As the investigation unfolded, one question loomed large. Why? Why would Wyatt, a young man with no criminal record and no history of violence, commit such an act? Theories abounded, each pointing to the complex interplay of human behavior, family dynamics, and potential mental health struggles. Theory 1. Mental health. Friends and family noted that Wyatt had become increasingly withdrawn in the months leading up to the attack. While there was no formal diagnosis, investigators considered the possibility of undiagnosed mental health issues. Had Wyatt been silently battling demons no one knew about? Could untreated mental health struggles have led to an explosive outburst? Theory 2. Family tensions. While Cheri was the glue that held the family together, there were underlying tensions. Interviews with relatives hinted at unresolved conflicts between Wyatt and his grandmother, though specifics remained unclear. Could suppressed resentment have boiled over into violence? Theory 3. Sudden rage. The simplest explanation, and the one investigators ultimately leaned toward, was that Wyatt experienced a sudden loss of control. The attack showed no signs of premeditation. It appeared to be an impulsive act of rage. The trial of Wyatt Testerman captivated the nation. The prosecution painted a chilling picture, an unprovoked, brutal attack on an elderly woman who had devoted her life to her family. They leaned on the gruesome evidence, the dented metal tumbler, the blood-soaked crime scene, and Wyatt's chilling lack of emotion during his arrest. The defense, however, struggled to construct a narrative that could explain Wyatt's actions. They highlighted his clean record, his youth, and the possibility of undiagnosed mental health issues. However, without substantial evidence, their argument fell flat. The jury deliberated for only a few hours before delivering a unanimous guilty verdict. Cheri Oliver's death left a void that could never be filled. Her family, already fractured by internal struggles, now faced immense guilt and sorrow. Could they have seen the warning signs? Could they have intervened? These questions lingered like shadows, haunting those who loved her most. For the community, the case sparked difficult conversations about mental health and domestic violence. Advocates called for better resources to address family conflicts and early intervention for at-risk individuals. Cheri's tragic story became a rallying cry for change, even as it left an indelible mark on the hearts of those who knew her. The story of Wyatt Testerman and Cheri Oliver is one of profound tragedy. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about family, mental health, and the unpredictable nature of human relationships. As we close this chapter, we must remember Cheri not for how her life ended, but for the love, strength, and kindness she brought to everyone around her. She was more than a victim. She was a beacon of light in a family that now struggles to find its way without her. Let her story remind us of the importance of compassion, understanding, and the fragile threads that bind us together. The case remains a painful reminder of the fragility of life and the darkness that can emerge even in the most unexpected places. As we reflect on Cheri's life and tragic death, we are left with a haunting question. How well do we truly know the people we hold closest?